91.5 WBIM presents Bridgewater's Saturday Night Soundtrack with Rob Hicks. Whoever you're with, wherever you're going, whatever you're doing, don't stop. Just turn us up. Coming to you live from the Adrian Rondelou Campus Center. We are your destination for commercial-free classic rock to power your nights. Bruce Springsteen, Tom Petty, Pearl Jam, Eric Clapton, AC/DC, Zeppelin, Foo Fighters, Aerosmith, The Clash, Nirvana, Guns N' Roses, Rolling Stones, Soundgarden, Van Halen, and hundreds more. 5 decades, thousands of songs, and one show to rule them all.
All kinds of cool bands.
You guys rock. We are all request at 508-531-1303.
I can hear what I want when I want.
Every song just rocks.
So go get some food in the belly, gas in the tank, and prepare to make your Saturday night something classic. The Saturday Night Soundtrack with Rob Hicks begins now on Bridgewater's own 91.5 WBIM.
And it's 91.5 WBIM Bridgewater. Saturday Night Soundtrack is underway, so welcome to it. Rob Hicks here with you. We're going to be doing classic rock until 11 o'clock, as is our custom. You're invited to the weekly soiree, as always. Give us a call, 508-531-1303. Let me know what you want to hear. Let me know what's going to help you push through and keep on rolling with this Saturday night. It's this is the last weekend before Thanksgiving, so if you're one of those folks that has to work during the day, during the week, if you are especially unfortunate to have to work all the way through Wednesday, this is it. This is the last weekend that you have to, go to get all your ducks in a row. So you're going to need a little bit of extra push to make that happen. Whatever you got to do. If you're spending your Saturday night pre-peeling potatoes or something, I don't know. I don't know if people do that. I don't know if that's something that needs to be done. I'm not a chef. You know what I mean? I'm going to leave that up to the professionals. If you want mac and cheese on Thanksgiving, like big boatloads of it, then you can call me. Otherwise, I'm going to leave it up to other people. So 508-531-1303. Give me a call. Let me know what you need. We're splattered all over Facebook and social media in general. We just spread it around on the Saturday Night Soundtrack, so it's not difficult to find us. All you have to do is like us on Facebook, Saturday Night Soundtrack. You can follow us on Twitter at SN Soundtrack, and don't forget to check out our YouTube channel. All you have to do is search for Saturday Night Soundtrack. You filter for channels. We're the first thing that's going to come up, and you're going to get hours and hours and hours and hours of entertainment and conversations, and almost all of the highlights and on-air conversations from 2015 are up there, and they're all the conversations that I have weekly with Jarrod Barbetta and Steve Rimmer, neither of which are here with me tonight. They both had other things to do. Steve Rimmer is his wife's birthday is today, so he's off somewhere getting husband points tonight by spending it with her, which I don't get it. I feel like the husband points would really come in if he was like, hey, guess what? I'm going to be out of the house for at least 6 hours doing the program, and you get the night to yourself. But, different strokes for different folks, so good for him. Jarrod Barbetta is busy with his Freemason Lodge-related Illuminati duties or whatever it is that he does. He might actually be with us later on in the evening, so we'll hang out and we'll see how that goes. But in the meantime, I'm here with you. I'm holding down the fort. It's classic rock, commercial-free, nonstop, till 11 o'clock. As a matter of fact, we're going to get into the first big block of it right now. Coming up, we're going to kick it off with a song that has very often been referred to as a playful homage to the career, or at least the earlier career, of Bruce Springsteen.
Stay connected with these guys. Like the Saturday Night Soundtrack on Facebook. Follow SN Soundtrack on Twitter. And subscribe to the Saturday Night Soundtrack channel on YouTube. Now you can get as much of Rob, Jarrod, and Steve as you want. Anytime, anywhere. And who doesn't want that? SNS on BIM.
It's Cheap Trick, 91.5 WBIM Bridgewater. SNS radio show. That one was from their Heaven Tonight album, which came out in 1978. That was the year I was born. Mikey D was here, which he probably will be in a bit. He would remind me that while I was being conceived and thought of and created, he was out there seeing all these concerts, Molly Hatchet and UFO, and, well, he probably saw Cheap Trick, too, back in the day, and would have caught up on that. I was wrapping up a big block of classic rock. Before that, heard from Jackson Browne, had a double shot of Soundgarden in there, kicked it off with Tweeter and the Monkey Man. That was from the Traveling Wilburys' first album, Volume 1 from 1988. Song was also very often considered to be an homage. You can say that word, homage. Say that 3 times fast. Maybe it's just me that can't do it. To the early career of Bruce Springsteen, it had references to many Springsteen iconic locations and characters. First of all, it took place in New Jersey. Also the fact that the song title references were things referring to Thunder Road and State Trooper, the river, Lion's Den. And there was a song, called Jersey Girl, which was written by Tom Waits but was made popular by Springsteen. So many people take a look back at that and say, well, they were paying homage to Springsteen. And Dylan and Tom Petty, who wrote the record, probably would just say, well, we just sat down and wrote it in the kitchen. Jeff Lynne was sitting around in the background not doing anything. And we just put the song together. That was it. So that's how it goes. 508-531-1303. We're doing classic rock until 11 o'clock. Give me a call. Let me know what you want to hear. Jarrod Barbetta and Steve Rimmer, not here with me tonight, but Jarrod Barbetta may be here later in the evening. We're going to see how things go. Mikey D, however, as he always does, I'm sure, is going to put in an appearance, a couple of appearances. He'll probably be here within the next hour or so, hour and a half. And I don't know what record he's bringing. He usually brings up a record. We usually play a track within the first half of the program, and then around 9 o'clock or so, play the next track. I have no idea what he's bringing in. I never know what he's bringing in. He'll never tell me. He'll never tip his hat to what he's going to bring in. It's just always a surprise. So he's going to be busting down the door pretty soon. I can feel it. I can feel his presence. As I was walking towards the campus center, I actually saw him kind of walk by, and he's just when he's in the zone of doing his Mikey D stuff, he walks so fast, and he's like he's a man on a mission. And I don't know what he's doing. I don't know if he's going to change a light bulb or empty a trash can or what the hell. But he's always just he's on his way to do something important. You can tell. And I didn't get in his way. I wasn't even in the building yet, but I was like, I'm going to hang back, so I don't get in his way because I have a feeling I'm going to get plowed over if I get in his way because it looks like he's got something pretty important to do. So he'll be in a little bit, and we'll hear from him. Get back into the classic rock. Another big block coming up. Going to kick it off with a song that, when it was released, was it was banned from a lot of AM radio stations at the time, and reportedly one of the lead singers cried at the end of the take.
Hitting the bars or hitting the books. We'll make your night rock with Rob Hicks and Bridgewater's Saturday Night Soundtrack on 91.5 WBIM.
Joan Jett, 91.5 WBIM Bridgewater. Wrapping up a big block of classic rock there on the Saturday Night Soundtrack. Heard Jay Giles Band before that. Some Blue Oyster Cult was in there. Bruce Springsteen, Neil Young as part of a semi-double shot of Neil Young and CSNY. Crosby, Stills, Nash & Young for the uninitiated. We started off that block with Ohio, which was, as everybody knows now, a protest song about Kent State, of course, and was originally released as a single. Didn't come out on an album from CSNY until 1974 when they put out their So Far compilation album, and then 3 years later it was on Neil Young's 3-disc, Decade collection back in 1977. When Ohio came out, it was a song that was banned on a whole lot of AM radio stations because of its critical nature towards the Nixon administration and all that. And back then you couldn't do that. Imagine nowadays, right? So you had that going on, and then also the fact that it was reported that David Crosby actually cried at the end of the take that was actually recorded as the song that we know now. Just sort of broke down there at the end right after the fade out. Artists were just more, maybe they were more sensitive. Maybe they were more in touch with the events than artists nowadays. I mean, you get artists nowadays crying on stage, right? Or crying after takes and whatnot. You got Justin Bieber doing it, but that's all self-serving. You know what I mean? You don't have anybody doing it for the greater good of the political causes. So, it's just the difference between that's what us old fogies say about the music nowadays. Anyway, that's what you got, old fogies on Saturday nights. Every week here, and as long as the semester goes on, we do classic rock until 11 o'clock. So you can call us up, 508-531-1303. Let me know what you want to hear. It's Rob Hicks here with you. Get at me. Tell me what's going to help you out. Also, don't forget to check us out on Facebook, Saturday Night Soundtrack. You can follow us on Twitter, @SN Soundtrack, and on YouTube. All you got to do is search for Saturday Night Soundtrack. You filter for channels. We're the first thing that comes up, and you got highlights from almost every show in 2015. Pretty much you'll have highlights from all shows of 2015. We're not going to be on the air next week due to building closures for the Thanksgiving weekend and whatnot, and I'm going to take that opportunity to sort of catch up on sort of the technical IT aspects of keeping up with this program. I'll load up the shows that haven't been loaded up yet and get all that squared away and taken care of. It's difficult when you're. It's difficult when not only are you, I'm not that old, not completely over the hill, but I'm also from another decade, another century actually, of time when things were a little bit more analog. And I won't bore you with the details, but we have a process by which we record the programs every week. And I'm trying something out new this week to see how it works. I've still got the old, but this is the key. This is the key earmark of somebody who not only is older, but is also, an OCD control freak. I've still got the old method of recording going on because I'm like, I can't, if something goes wrong with this thing, because I don't trust technology. I'm like, I don't trust technology. So I'm like, if something goes wrong with this thing, well, I'm trying to record using this, new fangled method. I'm not, if we lose the show, it's going to be cataclysmic. Part of the whole thing of the Saturday Night Soundtrack is we've kept every show that we've had since we kicked off over a year ago. So I'm not going to be losing any programs just because some new technology screws me up. But I do want to see how it works. So more to come on that. If I feel like embarrassing myself any further, I will at some point tell you what all of the tell you what the new method is, and then I'll tell you what the old method was, and you'll be like, man, this guy's a dinosaur. How's he doing it like that all this time? Anyway, call us up, 508-531-1303. Going to get another classic rock block going on. Going to kick it off with a band. Now, we're going to play the songs from the band's heyday, okay? So you don't have to worry about any of this sort of tinging it, but it's a band that in 2006, Rolling Stones described as having spent most of the past decade deliberately tearing apart their own fame. So let's play a threefer from that band next. BIM.
It's time to dust off some crusty, dirty old relics. Maybe they'll clean some of the records, too, while they're at it. Rob Hicks, Jarrod Barbetta, and Steve Rimmer. The Saturday Night Soundtrack on 91.5 WBIM.
It's a little reggae for your Saturday night. 91.5 WBIM Bridgewater. SNS radio show, that one by request. It was Bob Marley and the Wailers. That was from their 1977 Exodus album. Jamming, got a call for it, said, love what you're playing and don't know if this fits in the format, but want to hear a little reggae to get me through. And I said, yeah, why not? Saturday Night Soundtrack, and whatever it helps to get you through, because it's one of those things where, like I mentioned before, this is your last weekend before Thanksgiving mayhem. You know what I'm saying? This is your last weekend, but, to do whatever preparations you need to do. You don't have any days off coming up this week. Then you're up the creek, my friend. So this is it. This is the weekend where you need to power through. So anything we can help you do in that vein, not a problem at all. A big block of classic rock. We just closed out with that one. It was actually two Bobs before Bob Marley had Bob Seger in there. Kicked it off with a triple shot, a Pearl Jam. And Rob Hicks here with you, 637, a gentleman across from me who now has a lot more arm room and elbow room than he normally does. Mikey D's here.
Greetings to our listening viewers out there.
Hello.
Boy, it's a quiet up here tonight. Just you and me for a bit, huh?
Yeah, it's very quiet. There were people in the office behind you for, maybe a total of 10 or 15 minutes earlier, and, they're gone now. So it's down to just you and me again.
So, either way, complete madness as usual.
Completely.
What'd you say? You used the key word a little while ago, mayhem or something? Or
mayhem, yes. Mayhem. Thanksgiving mayhem, because here's the deal. I was doing the math on the way in, because this month, for whatever reason, this month is just completely gutting the hell away from me. I don't know what's happened. I don't know why. For whatever reason, it's just been it's just flown by. You know what I mean? And I started doing the math, and I was thinking about it, and earlier this week, and I was like, Thanksgiving's next week. Like the week we're going into now. That's crazy to me.
Thursday.
Yeah, exactly.
Mayhem, whether it's a holiday week or not, every Saturday night up here from 5 to 11, it's usually complete mayhem.
It's usually how it works.
And madness.
It's a little bit less madness because we're down 2 people tonight. But, we'll do our best to pick up the slack.
With just the 2 of us, we can still be very creative.
Exactly.
Right? That's a no-brainer up here with us 2.
What's the Mikey D Thanksgiving preparation process like? What are you doing?
No process. I just go and eat.
Okay, so you're not hosting anything.
Nah.
You're not
usually with my gal Kath. She's been doing it for a couple of years now. She used to do it with her family members, but she's, as time goes on, hey, we have it at her house. Me, her kids, grandkids, whoever. She goes, whoever shows up, shows up. If they don't, big deal.
Now, do you cook anything? Do you actually what do you bring to the table, I guess is my question, literally and figuratively?
From the stove to the table.
Correct.
I just told you.
That's it? Oh, that's it?
Yeah, from the stove to... And I'll bring some dessert or something.
Okay, so that's what I was going after. I
never go empty-handed.
Well, that's what I was wondering. I was like, are you telling me that Mikey D's a freeloader? And that'll make me think...
Can't really say that.
That'll make me think twice before inviting you anyway. Mikey D shows up at Thanksgiving. He's like, hey, I brought a record. Everyone's like, I want mashed potatoes.
Hey, wait. Every Saturday night soundtrack. Do I come empty-handed?
I mean, no,
okay.
You don't. I mean, there was 1 week you did, but no, you don't. In general, you don't. I'm just saying.
Well, you couldn't wait to get that out quick enough.
I just wanted to make sure that for, when you show up at the Thanksgiving table, that you're doing something that's equivalent to what you do here every week.
And I'll be helping her out in the kitchen. I attempt to at times, but a typical woman, get out of here. I can handle it.
Yeah,
so
I pretty
if you're
much.
A man, get out of the kitchen. Stay away from them.
We go to my parents' house most of the time for Thanksgiving. There's a couple of times we've been to either her parents or we traveled down to Virginia to be with my wife's family one year. But for the most part, we tend to be with my parents. And there was 1 year, I believe, we hosted it, or we've hosted dinner from them, from time to time. And my job is to stay out of the way. And to make
exactly,
and to do place settings, you know what I mean, like put out forks and knives and stuff. I can do that.
Placemats.
I can.
Like that, yeah.
I can handle that.
But when it comes to the regular labor in the kitchen, she
right.
usually says, "Just I'll offer." Then she'll say, "Nope, just get out of the kitchen."
Right.
She says it once. Don't have to tell Mikey D twice.
That's pretty much the best method, I think, for us guys.
Of course.
The other thing that I do,
very much safer.
The other thing I will do is if something needs to be put in the oven at a certain temperature, I can handle that. That's good. I can do that. That's not a problem. I don't have any problem with that. But if anything that involves the preliminary preparation, I'm cutting stuff up, I'm making stuff, I'm doing nope, that's not good. Nope.
Yeah, that I
want
understand.
it. She wants it done right, which means she wants it done the way she wants it done.
Of course.
And I have no complaints with the way she does it, so it's hands off. It's hands off, and that's better for everyone.
And look at the end results. Very delicious.
Exactly. That's how it goes. You had a couple of shout-outs you wanted to contribute tonight.
Talking to my son Glenn earlier today, he wanted to make sure I give old Glenny boy a shout-out.
Let me mention, by the way, that when Mikey D says, when we say shout-out, it's quite literally a shout-out.
And that's
Mikey
with me
D's
just talking, not talking loud.
Correct.
And we're going to play for him another friend of mine, Stephen Gardello, Stevie G, listening all the way from the Rockland area, which is quite a distance. He says he can pick up BIM pretty good.
He can actually pick it up there, huh?
Yeah, that's what he told me last week. He heard it pretty good.
It's weird because I know other people who have told me, like John Coombs, who does Pilot of the Airwaves, does a show before me, Radio Gaga from 3 to 5, and some 80s stuff and things like that. He said that he's left the studio after his show and has been driving. He's ended up in the some parking lot in Hanover somewhere, and he can pick the station up. It's a very random thing. It's weird. For any of those of you who find that you're in an area where you can't pick us up necessarily, remember that livestream.com is available. It's a website, and you can also get a Livestream app, which is free on the iTunes and Google Play stores. My understanding of this is that it's still working crystal clear. No buffering, no nothing, and a good portion of that is due to Peter Q. George, our chief engineer here.
Of course.
Is instrumental in keeping Livestream is its own entity in and of itself, but Peter George is instrumental in keeping our feed on Livestream up and going and healthy and all that good stuff. So it's because of him that you can technically hear us anywhere around the world if you want.
That cat is a very, very valuable individual up at this BIM area. He has been for years, and he will continue being that way.
That cat.
All right. So hey, the album I brought in.
Yes. Tell us about
Black
this.
Rose.
So this is Thin Lizzy from 79.
Yeah, okay, so it must have been the first one they did with new guitarist Gary Moore after Brian Robertson left. Brian Robertson's been always one of my favorites, but I guess they had a little slight misunderstanding, so either he left.
That never happens, does it?
Yeah. He either left on his own, or they kind of told him to, or maybe a little mutual agreement on both. So picked up Gary Moore, one of the original members from their early days.
And
he joined them for a while.
What we're going to hear is the first track on that album, which is called Do Anything You Want To. And as always, with the Mikey D album, we're going to play another track off this album later on, probably around, I'm assuming, the 9 o'clock hour or so. It's usually
right around there.
And when you come back, there's a possibility that Jarrod Barbetta could be here, or he could not. It depends on how his engagements tonight go.
All right. And so definitely shout out to the two I just mentioned. We'll play both Thin Lizzies for them tonight. Steve Gardella, all the way from Rockland, rocking and rolling as usual, and Glenn with family and friends and daughter Perry Rose. They're listening right now, so good shout out to you cats. And
that's a whole bunch of listeners I think we got. It's probably more confirmed listeners.
Okay, to top it off, here's the number. Call in, request 508-531-1303. No questions asked. I want to hear some classic rock from you from the phone.
I think you say that in your sleep, don't you?
That I do. All right. I shall return. Keep listening.
There you go. Here's Thin Lizzy for you. 91.5 WBIM Bridgewater. You're listening to Saturday Night Soundtrack on BIM. It's Queen at 91.5 WBIM Bridgewater. Saturday Night Soundtrack wrapping up another block of classic rock. Before that, we heard from the James Gang. Nirvana, Steve Miller Band was in there, kicked it off with Thin Lizzy, a track from the album that Mikey D brought up for us this evening, and we're going to be playing another track from that, probably around 9 o'clock or so, within the 9 o'clock hour when he's back. And we'll play anything you want, too. We're doing classic rock until 11 o'clock, so we can do it. 508-531-1303. Give me a call. Let me know what's going to help you through. You got this last weekend. This is it, man. You're doing it, you know. You got anything, any errands you need to do, anything you need to prepare for Thanksgiving. If you don't have a day off this week until Thursday, you're gonna need this. Okay, you're gonna need some preparation, and you're gonna need some music to go along with it to sort of drive it home. So make sure that gets done. You know, speaking of Queen, actually, the last song we just played, that was from their jazz album. What's this foolishness that I've been reading about? Adam Lambert apparently is touring with I don't know if this has been going on for a while. Maybe I'm behind the times. I don't know. But read some news stories about Adam Lambert talking about how he's been watching a whole bunch of film footage of Freddie Mercury playing with Queen. He's been watching everything, you know, all the archived stuff that he can get his hands on in preparation so he can go out there and be the front man for Queen now as they run around touring, and they, you know, he's filling in for Freddie Mercury. He's basically an idol of his, and he's filling in. And Adam Lambert, of course, an American Idol product himself. And I don't know. Maybe this is just me being staunch and stubborn and old and stuck in the past and saying that you know, I don't think Queen without Freddie Mercury is much. I don't care who you got in there fronting, and maybe he's doing a great job. Maybe he's doing a bang-up job. I don't know. I'm putting this out there as a sort of a caveat to all of my criticism here, that I have not heard or seen 1 minute, 1 second of Adam Lambert playing for Queen. So, I mean, he could be phenomenal. I have absolutely no idea. But I know how I feel about Queen and, you know, the original Queen with Freddie Mercury. And I don't know, nothing beats the original. When you've got a front man who's so, you know what I mean, he's so entrenched in what the band is and what helped the band get to its place in, you know, classic rock hierarchy, royalty, history, whatever you want to call it. When you get somebody who's that identifiable with the band, and, you know, they're not there, and obviously, you know, obviously he hasn't been there for over 20 years, but I mean, I'm saying when you have, almost 25 actually, but when you've got someone who's that identifiable with the band, I don't know how you replace them. I don't know how you do it. I mean, it's like when the Doors, you know, I've mentioned this before, it's like when the Doors tried to go on tour and tried to do stuff after the passing of Jim Morrison in 71, and, you know, probably the most successful thing they did post Jim Morrison was the album An American Prayer, which was original music by the Doors. The album was put out in 1978, but it was original music by the Doors backing poetry read by Jim Morrison, tapes that he had left behind that they just put music to, which was something he, you know, I'm sure he was rolling around, you know, over in his grave at the time. He didn't want that to happen, but he deliberately recorded that stuff without music because he wanted to get away from Doors type stuff. But they cashed in on it, and, you know, I'll tell you, it sounded great. They knew how to put the music, the backing music, to his vocals. I mean, they were talented guys, you know, and still are to that respect. But again, you've lost your front man, the guy who's basically the face of your band, and that's just a very difficult thing to come back from. But I could be proven wrong. I'm going to go out there. I'm going to do some Google searches probably within the next week or two. Check out Adam Lambert playing for Queen and see what I think. And then I'll come back here and I'll either eat crow if I think he was great, or, I'll stand by my convictions and say that it should not be going on. I don't know why this is happening. Please make it stop. 508-531-1303. Going to get into another big classic rock block right now. We're going to kick it off with a song whose title is never actually sang in the actual song, but the title itself is a pun based on the song's chorus. See if you can figure that out. Next to BIM.
Whether you're spending a night in town or just a night in, we've got you covered. It's All Request Classic Rock on Bridgewater's Saturday night soundtrack with Rob Hicks at 91.5 WBIM.
It's, of course, Journey on 91.5 WBIM Bridgewater. SNS radio show wrapping up another classic rock block. Had Tom Petty before that, double shot of the Doors, Robin Trower, and we kicked it off with Nazareth. Song was called Hair of the Dog. And the song title was a pun because hair of the dog is never actually said in the song, but they do in the refrain say, now you're messing with a son of a bitch numerous times, and a son of a bitch would be an heir of the dog. Son of a bitch. Get it? Get it, huh? Isn't that clever? Isn't that clever? That's what we're here for, to educate you. 508-531-1303. Saturday night soundtrack is on until 11 o'clock. Classic rock until 11 o'clock. So give us a call. Let us know what you want to hear. What's going to help push you through your last Saturday night before Thanksgiving? Maybe you got a, maybe you have events even earlier than Thanksgiving. I mean, this is one of those weeks where, with the holidays and everything, people don't always celebrate, or people will celebrate the holiday, but then they have, if you got a big family, maybe you're getting together. You could be getting together tomorrow. Have a pre-Thanksgiving before the Thanksgiving. Who knows what's going on? I mean, there's no Patriots football tomorrow to have to plan your Sunday around because they're not playing until Monday night. So you got, what I mean? You could be home right now trying to just sweat on the brow, just trying to get everything all together. I know with that kind of stuff, it hanging out with family is great. Family's important, family and friends, but events and planning dinners and figuring all that stuff out. And I'm not even of my wife and I'm not even the one who does all the planning. I'm not the one who's responsible for putting the meals together or planning anything or what have you. I just, I have to sort of make the arrangements and I have to clean the house. And then if people are coming to our house, and then I have to just, get out of the way. And even that, it's stressful. I don't know, the day comes and I can feel the nerves and the anxiety. So, try not to think about all that stuff. Try not to think about all these horrible things I've just put in your head. Try to just have fun with the holiday week, and you should be fine. If you got something going on tomorrow and you're still trying to plan for it tonight, God help you. So anyway, Rob Hicks here with you, and again, here until 11 o'clock. You can like us on Facebook, Saturday Night Soundtracks, all you have to search for, and if you do that, you're not only going to see all the posts from us and the interesting things that we throw out there and statuses on the show and everything, but you're also going to be able to see comments on all the posts that we put out there, particularly comments from Steve's wife, who Steve's actually, he's on, can we call this a vacation night for Steve? Is it a vacation when you don't get paid? I don't know. Figure it out. Figure that part out for yourself. But I had posted that, this is basically the last show before the Thanksgiving weekend break. So, to get on it. And, Steve, who is, great husband, and he's there for his wife on the night of her birthday. I mentioned, earlier in the program that I was wondering why that was necessarily a gift to her. Thought maybe it might be better if, he just said, hey, I'm going to be out of the house for at least 6 hours. Do what you want. And she had commented and said that she laughed when she said that Stevens, and she calls him, I like that she calls him Steven. I think next week or the week after, because that's the next time we're going to be on, I might call him Steven and see how he takes to that. Or maybe not. We'll see what mood he's in. But she said that she liked that Steven's birthday gift to her was time alone, I had said. And this is the kicker, right? So then she goes on to say that Steve was listening to us now, meaning at some point during the program, earlier, wherever they happen to be. I don't know if they're at a restaurant. I don't know if they're at home. I don't know what's going on. But he was listening to us and trying to pretend he's not. So that's, I love that, those are like the commercials with the guy, and he's got the smartphone, sort of under the table, and he's watching the football game or whatnot. I like that the Saturday night soundtrack is something that people will sneak around to try to listen to when they're supposed to be spending time with their significant others. Sir, spend time with your wife. That's why you're not here. That's the whole point. You know what I mean? Just make sure if you need to sneak off and listen to a little bit of classic rock, that's fine. He probably stopped listening in the last block when we paid some Tom Petty anyway, so it might not be an issue anymore, but just throwing that out there, just don't get yourself in trouble for the sake of the program, though we admire and appreciate your dedication to the program. 508-531-1303. Give us a call. Let us know what you want to hear. Next big classic rock block coming up. I'm going to kick it off with a song that in 2009, and this was 22 years after the song came out, so never too late. But in 2009, Rolling Stone had called this song one of the greatest, or I believe they had actually called it the greatest hard rock song of all time.
So, you just spent hours putting together the perfect classic rock playlist?
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
That's so cute. This Saturday night soundtrack with Rob Hicks on 91.5 WBIM.
It's Peter Gabriel. 91.5 WBIM Bridgewater. Saturday night soundtrack. That was off his debut album, which some people refer to as simply Peter Gabriel. Some refer to it as Peter Gabriel 1. Some people refer to it as Car because it was one of the picture of the album cover was just him sitting in a car, and it's one of those things where you could call it, like Led Zeppelin 4, you could call it 4, Zoso, 4 Symbols. Whatever you want. Peter Gabriel's initial album was kind of one of those. Peter Gabriel 1, Car, whatever you want. People are gonna know what you're talking about. Saturday night soundtrack here. We're doing classic rock until 11 o'clock. Rob Hicks with you. Give me a call, 508-531-1303. Let me know what you want to hear. We just wrapped up a block of classic rock with Peter Gabriel there. Don McLean was before that. Heard from the Foo Fighters, John Mellencamp. Kicked it all off with Guns N' Roses. Welcome to the Jungle from Appetite for Destruction, which in 2009, Rolling Stone named as the greatest hard rock song of all time. Only took 22 years, right? That's not so bad. That's not bad at all. That's not bad. Jarrod Barbetta may or may not be joining. I'm gonna be finding out probably within the next hour if we're gonna hear from Jarrod at all. He's probably gonna text me if his events fortuitously end at a certain point where he can get here, and it's worth his, it has to be worth his time too to make the drive to Bridgewater and come up here so he can spend hopefully an hour and a half, couple of hours with us. So he'll let me know one way or the other. Last message that I got from Steve Rimmer was that he was still listening. Steve's supposed to be spending time with his wife for her birthday, but he's still listening to the Saturday night soundtrack. Hey, I'm not judging. I love having Steve listen. I wish he was here with, his presence is sorely missed. But I want to make sure that he doesn't get himself into too much trouble, that he can, I want to make sure he's here 2 weeks from now, like he's physically able to be here. So, sir, again, if you're still listening, good for you. Don't get in too much trouble that it's going to jeopardize your ability to be here in the future. And that's all I'll say about that. Speaking of the future, some programming notes here that I should pass along. If you're avid listeners to the Saturday Night Soundtrack, which I hope you are, and all of you should be, obviously, we're not going to be on next week, obviously, for the Thanksgiving weekend. The building closes down completely over the weekend, so it's our week off, so to speak, so we won't be here. Then we'll be back on December 5th. That's the next Saturday, of course, and 5th and the 12th, it looks like that's probably going to be it for us. 19th would be the Saturday after the 12th, and that's just stretching a little too far. Usually by that point, building has some limited hours, and things start to slow down and wind down, and it's too difficult to count on. So 5th and 12th are going to be our last two shows. We're going to have 2 shows in December, and those are the next 2 shows coming up. So we only got 2 more shows in this semester, but hopefully, and I'm crossing fingers, I'm crossing toes, whatever else I could possibly cross. Use your imagination. But I'm hoping, coming up on December 1st, we've got a meeting to plan the schedule for the spring semester. And depending on how things go and who wants what spots and how things work out, I'm hoping the Saturday Night Soundtrack will be back going strong in 2016. We'll make the announcement as soon as we know. As a matter of fact, just looking at the calendar and the dates that I just mentioned, by the time we're back on the 5th, I should be confident enough from the details of the meeting to be able to tell you on the air what our plans are for next year. So hoping we go strong, hoping we get the opportunity to come back and do the show. It's great. It's a wonderful opportunity. We're here every semester as long as they'll have us and they don't kick us out. We're here every semester to do classic rock till 11 o'clock on Saturday nights. And it's fantastic. I love doing it. And hope it shows. And I hope you guys enjoy listening to it. And we can get on whatever you want. Again, 508-531-1303. Give us a call. Let us know what you want to hear. Getting into another big classic rock block. Up next, going to kick it off with a song that ends with one of the, probably the most, one of, if not the most famous last notes in classic rock history, and it was played on 3 pianos simultaneously along with a harmonium.
Saturday nights with Rob Hicks. He's like Wolfman Jack, without the beard, money, or timeless popularity.
Coincidence? I think not.
Bridgewater's Saturday night soundtrack on 91.5 WBIM.
It's Elton John at 91.5 WBIM Bridgewater. SNS radio show. Wrapping up that classic rock block. That got mellow quickly, didn't it? That was a double shot of Elton John from his phenomenal album, Madman Across the Water. It had Tiny Dancer there. Levon just before that. Had Dire Straits, AC/DC, and the Beatles all within that block. Beatles with the Sgt. Pepper's Reprise and A Day in the Life medley kicking off that block. That was a song, that song's probably got one of, if not the most famous last note in in classic rock history, folklore as it is. You get that final chord that's struck at the end of that song there that lasts, it lasts up to a minute if you let the whole thing play out in its entirety. It was played by John Lennon, Paul McCartney, Ringo Starr. They each were on their own piano, and then their road manager, assistant friend named Mal Evans, he was on a harmonium. And they all struck the note at the same time. It was an E major note, and they hit it, and then they just kind of boosted the studio volume up and up and up and up as the vibration started fading out, and got to the end. And if you listen to it all the way through, you can hear at the very end some studio sounds like rustling papers and a squeaking chair or something like that, because they had pumped the volume up so much. But got the effect, and it's just everybody remembers that. When they hear that song, they think of that final note. If any of you, this is a cheesy, schmaltzy movie for me to admit that I like, so I'm sort of taking a chance with my reputation here, but I don't really care. Mr. Holland's Opus, which is a 20-year-old movie at this point, so a lot of you out there probably haven't even heard of it, but had Richard Dreyfuss in it. He was a Beatles nut in that movie. He loved the Beatles, and he was playing a high school composer / teacher, and it's all about how his life just became about whatever. Movie's not important. The important point is he does he comes up with what's called Holland's American Symphony or something like that. It's like the magnum opus he's been working towards his whole life and career, and one of those deals. And at the very end, there's a note that he hits that is very, very, very similar. And intentionally so, to the last note in Sgt. Pepper's Day in the Life. And, there it is. So there's a connective tissue between art and music and, what have you. So 508-531-1303. We're here to educate and entertain. As always, it's a Saturday night soundtrack. We're doing classic rock until 11 o'clock, so call us up. Last I heard, Jarrod Barbetta actually is probably going to be coming in here. It'll be fun, because he's probably going to get here, by my estimation, around the same time as Mikey D's return for his second segment. So Jarrod's going to have he's going to come in. He's probably going to be all tired and, worn out from having made booked it to make the trip up here to be able to be on the show for a couple of hours. And the first thing he's going to see is Mikey D. So that'll be fantastic. So that'll make for a good segment and some entertaining radio for you. So keep tuned for that. And let me know what you want to hear. Again, 508-531-1303. As always, got to remind you not to forget, check us out on Facebook, Saturday Night Soundtrack. You can follow us on Twitter at SN Soundtrack. If you check out YouTube, I think I've only mentioned this a couple of times tonight, so it bears mentioning one more time. Look on YouTube, search for Saturday Night Soundtrack, filter for channels will be the first thing that comes up. And when you do that, we've got almost all of the 2015 shows. All the highlights from those shows are up there, okay? So you can go back, especially this is important for next week. You know what I mean? Next week we're not going to be here, so you can fill in your time by listening to older episodes of the Saturday Night Soundtrack. You can play some of your own music, on an iPod or something like that, and then play a couple of segments of us on the YouTube channel and play some more music off your iPod and then play some segments of us, because the stuff that's on YouTube for copyright reasons is not the music. It's just our on-air bits. So, you're going to have to bridge the gap in some way, unless you want to listen to hours and hours and hours and hours and hours of us back to back to back. So be it. That's your own business. I question your judgment, but I won't judge you for it. How's that? We'll put it that way. Another big block of classic rock coming up. Going to kick it off with a song that the guitarist for this band named the song after his girlfriend, but he purposely left out references to he, she, left it very general so that it could, appeal to anyone and everyone.
Call in your classic rock request now at 508-531-1303. If you don't, Rob Hicks will play a half an hour of Bruce Hornsby.
That's just the way it
This is your chance to save the town of Bridgewater. 91.5 WBIM.
It's the Red Hot Chili Peppers and 91.5 WBIM Bridgewater. Saturday Night Soundtrack wrapping up another classic rock block there. Had Lynyrd Skynyrd in there right before that, Alice in Chains. Kicked it all off with Allman Brothers and Blue Sky, and that was a song that was written by guitarist Dickie Betts. It was for his girlfriend at the time, who later became his wife. Her nickname was Blue Sky. And he wrote it for her, but he wanted it to be one of those songs that everybody and anybody could relate to. So he didn't personify what Blue Sky was, didn't give it a he or a she or an it. Just let you think whatever you wanted about it. It's a pleasant song, and it is what it is. Rob Hicks, Jarrod Barbetta has joined me, and as predicted, Jarrod Barbetta and Mikey D are back at the same time.
He showed up. Good.
Yes.
Simple.
So Jarrod's here, as usual, when he comes from lodge events. He's here in a tuxedo.
Yes,
or
I am.
At least a suit.
It's a tuxedo.
So, you don't have the cummerbund and the bow tie and
I
all
took
that.
all that stuff off.
Okay.
I hate the cummerbund, by the way.
He's basically like, he shows up from the lodge meetings looking like James Bond. But, James Bond, after he's just done something like, stopped a plane from crashing or something, like all sweaty and disheveled. But he's got the suit and the tuxedo going on.
Yep,
So that counts for something.
He is slightly messed.
Yeah. So, hey, speaking of slightly messed, someone has discovered the bathrooms downstairs that we're so fond of. I found that out when I went down there earlier to take a break and went, blah, because it just left in the...
Oh, well, that's the guy that's right here is the perfect guy to take care of that.
It's all set, though. It's all set because I flushed and everything went. So we don't have a problem, but it was just disgusting.
Blame the parents. Okay, little boy.
I blame the janitor.
It's called flush.
I blame the janitor.
Simple.
Nope, the janitor is the guy to blame for this.
Hey,
What?
it wasn't my bat droppings that I left in there.
Doesn't matter. You're the guy that's supposed to take care of those.
My bat droppings.
Yeah.
Whatever you want to call them. All right, Mr. Hicks, talk to us.
Yeah, so this is bad timing because Jarrod doesn't care about any of this, but I have to mention it to
good
you.
timing then,
Yeah,
honey.
no, so I have to mention this to you. So,
Oh, wow, that is bad
yeah.
timing.
Wow.
So, first of all, is your blood pressure and everything okay since last week's game
Yeah,
against the Giants,
fine.
where they came out and
54 yard or 53, whatever it was.
yeah, it was 54 yards by Gostowski and
With room to spare.
Yep. Wanted at the pretty much the literal last second. Julian Edelman is now out until further notice.
All right.
We don't know if he's going to be back for the playoffs or not. Everybody hopes so, but without him there for the rest of the regular season because he broke his foot, doesn't sound very good.
But every so often, you need a game like that to bring everybody down, down to earth. And
oh yeah, because nothing is guaranteed.
No.
And
we could have some bad calls and.
And we say that as we head into Monday Night Football this week.
That is correct.
They're going to be playing against the Bills. It's going to be Pats and Bills. And you and I, our good friend, Sexy Rexy Lion, he was...
Pats and Bills
Yeah.
like they're in the... Hey, Pat, how you doing? I'm doing all right, Bill. How are you?
Yeah.
You heard Rex Ryan just basically throwing temper tantrums at all of the conference calls that he's been at this week?
No, not at all. I don't pay much attention.
So he did they had a press conference a little while ago, like within the past week. He's had two, and basically lost his temper at both of them in his own way. Like, he was sort of subdued. So because his team loses to the Patriots, it's pretty much what it comes down to. And they were asking him at one point. There was one where he said something like, "Of course, the Patriots want to bury us because we're number 2 in the division, and we're standing in their way of being." But he goes a step further, though. He goes a step further, and he says, he says, "Are we going to win the division? No, they're going to win the division." He goes, "There's no way that they're going to drop 4 games." He's like, "I would like to be wrong, but I don't think I'm wrong, and that's not going to happen." So my thought process comes back to, again, comparing Rex Ryan to basically any other coach that's out there. Can you imagine, like, Bill Belichick or basically any other coach with any sort of competitive streak combined with confidence of some sort in his team actually saying that out loud, like, we're not going to win the division? Like, is it logical? Yes.
Hey.
Is it probable that they're not going to win the division? Yes. Do you say that out loud in a press conference? No.
Hey, what more can you say? He's a friggin' idiot, right? That we know. I don't even have to say that twice.
Careful.
Plus, the Patriots are a far superior team than they ever thought of being.
Well, yeah.
So, I mean, what else is this chucklehead going to say?
Well, he had a...
You know what I mean?
He had a conference call a couple of...
Yeah, he is a conference call.
I don't know what that means.
What does that mean?
He had a conference call He had a conference call a couple of days ago, and somebody asked him why he was obsessed with the Patriots, and he's like, "I'm not obsessed with the Patriots." He's like, "You're the one who brought up the fact that we lost them 7 out of 8 of the last times." And he was like, "I don't even know why you're bothering talking to me." And then he said something like, "I'm just going to sit in the back and just answer whatever questions you want, but I don't know what you're bothering me for." Like, he was just getting all angry and like a petulant little child.
They're the Patriots. They're the Bills. End of debate.
It's pretty much where it goes.
I mean, that Ryan guy, like I said, I don't know. That whatever he is, someone like him has to eat soup with a friggin' knife.
And he does
no problem.
He does ridiculous things that just draws more clownish attention to himself.
He's just an idiot. It's expected from him.
The press conference a week or two ago, he showed up with he wore a Clemson football helmet through the whole thing because his son got accepted to Clemson or something ridiculous like that. I don't remember exactly what the situation was, but I just remember I just saw the picture online of him having the stupid helmet on through the whole press conference.
Probably saying, "Okay, we'll let your son go here, but you're not coming down the coach."
Yeah, please don't. We'll let him come here if you stay far, far away. Yeah. Just keep away from there.
Up north, in the Northeast, like Buffalo, make it a little further, like maybe up in the Arctic Circle.
There's somewhere in that area.
Yeah.
So what else is going on? Anything else going on?
Nothing much. Very steady around the campus center tonight. Play going on.
Yeah. What else? Yeah, I was going to say, what's going on? Because I heard some whooping and hollering earlier when I went out in the hall.
Some play thing going on in the down below us here. So I think one more day going on for the play, which is tomorrow afternoon.
Some play thing.
Let me ask you a better question. What's going on out there in the foyer?
In the foyer?
Yeah, with all the courtyard out there with the tents.
Oh, that was from most of this week. Every November, they have about 3 or 4 nights in a row, they have a tent city.
Why?
Homeless awareness.
Oh, okay, I get you.
They do it every year. They've been doing it every year for a number of years.
Not to be insensitive, but I mean, they've got a tent. That means
they
that
usually have guests out there, guest speakers, talking to some of the people out there that are in charge.
And Jarrod manages to maintain the stereotype that anytime you say not to be blank, you are about to be blank.
Yeah.
Whatever you're about to say. Not to be insensitive thing comes out. Not to be racist, completely racist thing comes out.
I'm not racist.
No, I know. Not to be racist, but...
it's like the Seinfeld episode.
Which one is that?
The one where he always says, "Oh, not to be blah, 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 but blah, blah, blah." Wow, that is very blah, blah, blah.
That's pretty much it. So Mikey D brought up a Thin Lizzy album for us tonight.
Oh, good.
We already played a track off it earlier, and we're going to play another one coming up next if you want to tell us a little bit about it. Again, this is the album that they came out with in 79.
Yeah. Like I said, right after Brian Robertson left, they got old friend from years before, Gary Moore. And he did a little stretch with him, did a few albums. And every couple of years after that, they kind of changed until going into the 80s when they just didn't exist no more because Mr. Phil Lynott just happened to, wasn't with us no more.
Right. He did drugs and died.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we don't need to sugarcoat it. We know what these guys do.
Collins.
What's that?
No Joel from around the corner?
That was quite a shift in topics. And
I know that, but I had to sneak it in before we went to the Thin Lizzy.
Oh, okay. No.
Did Joel? Nobody.
No. Joel has not called for months, so I think you can stop asking.
Let that go.
I think you can stop asking if Joel called.
One more time. Gray and Black Attack. None. Zilch. Nada.
No.
That's another thing.
All right. Forget it.
That's like asking, hey, how's the Titanic doing?
Right. This
I don't
again.
know.
He's like the guy.
They're still breathing, so I expect them to call.
I mentioned. Well, we don't know that. And I mentioned him. I mentioned this a week or two ago. Mikey D's like the guy who keeps bringing up the girl that dumped you. Hey, you know that girl that dumped you? She call you ever? You ever hear from her?
How's she doing?
No, Mike. It's been a month now.
Does she dye her hair?
Maybe
every
because she's
season?
making out with somebody else.
Well, I'd hope so.
Of course.
Oh,
Of course
Jesus.
so.
You haven't heard from her, huh? Wow, it's been a while, huh?
Yeah.
Yes, Mike. Yes,
Yep.
it has.
How true? How true?
Yeah. So,
Thin Lizzy
Hey, how
coming
about
up.
how about the end of that Walking Dead episode, huh? Oh man, how about that?
I'm trying to remember the end. Did you actually watch it, or are you just being...
Yeah. How about the
Hey, did you say Walking Dead?
How about that?
Yeah, I don't know.
How do you feel about that?
I don't know. I don't know where that's going. And I'm getting a little irritated waiting for it because I'm getting to the point now where I'm like, all right, guys, there's two more episodes until the mid-season hiatus.
Yeah, they're gonna do it. They're gonna do
Figure
it.
this out
They're gonna do it at the
at the
end of
mid-season
the second,
finale.
yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure they are.
Well, that's how you milk it. That's called milking it.
Yeah, bastards.
Hey, speaking of milking it, I
Yeah.
bet the guy who first discovered that milk comes from cows did some other weird things.
What came first? The milk or the cow? All right.
And here we go.
2 weeks from tonight.
There we go. Saturday Night Soundtrack will be back 2 weeks from tonight. Mikey D will be back 2 weeks from tonight. We got Thin Lizzy right now. It's SNS on BIM. Steely Dan is on 91.5 WBIM Bridgewater. SNS radio show that went off their Countdown to Ecstasy album, my old school. Sammy Hagar before that. John Richmond and the Modern Lovers. Rush kicked it all off. Actually, Thin Lizzy kicked it all off with the album that Mikey D brought in for us, Waiting for an Alibi, which I believe at some point in the past year we've played a live cut that Steve Rimmer brought in of that track way back as well, too. So well furnished from all the people here at Saturday Night Soundtrack. Rob Hicks, Jarrod Barbetta, 9:39. And so my understanding is that you've heard nothing more from General Grievous or whatever his name is, right?
No. No, not yet.
Man.
Although I wasn't able to get to my mailbox.
Right. The chances are pretty slim it would have come in today of all days.
I don't know. It could have been. I mean,
Have you heard? If anybody doesn't understand what we're talking about, so Jarrod's been having a creepy conversation with what is probably a thinly veiled pederast on Reddit, and we don't know exactly what the situation is, but Jarrod felt that it was necessary to further this dialogue and communication. What does he call himself again?
I don't remember exactly. I don't remember at this exact time, but something about like it's Criterious.
Right. It has. Yes, I think Criterious is what it is. Yeah. And has something to do with the, of course, the Criterion collections that come out on Blu-ray and DVD and all that. Jarrod started communicating with him on a Reddit post and continued, and apparently he's very cryptic and promised to send Jarrod, quote unquote, something in the mail. We don't know what it is, and
that needs to be preserved.
This was like a month ago now, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I then again, like
have you heard anything more from him on the site at all? I know you mentioned last week that messages had come in, new messages that sort of renewed your faith in this process.
Let me.
And then at the same time, then nothing.
Let me take a peek.
Good.
So oh, by the way,
Yeah.
I was listening on the way in.
Okay.
Are you all right?
About what?
Are you just okay?
What do you mean?
I don't know, because it's all sad,
No, it's not.
morose.
Get out of here.
No,
What was sad? What was sad and Ramose?
I got all these piano ballads that you're playing. I'm like, what was he doing?
Ramose is not a word, by the way. I don't know what the hell I was just trying to say. Morose, I suppose, is what I was going for, but I don't freaking know. Anyway, I'm
Hey, you know what's
fine.
a good show?
What's that? Ours?
Well, I mean, besides ours, I think we've got that award in the bag. Just saying. Little winky wink there to you. You know, I mean, like the guy that's running that thing.
Yeah.
He's an amazing man, and he smells like musk. It's good.
And wood chips. Smells like a man with wood chips. I don't know.
Oh, jeez.
Where were we going with this? Because
Anyway,
I feel like three things are going on at once here.
Because that's how I do. Look at that.
All my thought processes were very linear until 9 o'clock. By the way, everything was fine.
That's how I operate.
I know. Can we focus in on one? Okay.
You know what? The Leftovers.
What Leftovers?
The show.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
That's an amazing show.
Yeah, I haven't gotten into that yet.
Well written, well executed. I could do a little bit less with the shaky cam business that Jack got going on.
That's a new thing everyone wants to do.
No, it's not the new thing. It's everything that people want to be doing since, like, let's see, we'll go back.
Well, Blair Witch Project.
No. I mean, that helped it out. But like after that, like the big mainstream thing was the Born Identity.
Oh, true, they did that a lot.
That film came out,
yeah.
and all of a sudden it's like everybody's just like ejaculating shaky camera business. You know what I mean? It's just like, oh my God, shaky camera all the time. Yeah. Speaking of ejaculation, do you know that when the honeybee, the drone, like, mates with the queen?
Did you get a goddamn email or not?
No.
Okay.
When he mates with the queen, right? The orgasm that he experiences is so powerful that his bits explode, right? And then it's permanently in the queen forever, right? But we can hear with our human ears the explosion of his bits. That's insane.
So we got another big classic rock block coming up.
God. What the hell?
Why do I want to hear his... I don't want to hear that.
Imagine that. Imagine like you sleep with a woman that's just like out of this world. It's like she looks amazing, and you're like, oh, this is great. This is just explosions, and then the explosion is so loud. It's 10 times the sound, like the sound barrier that your ears can handle. So then, like at the end of that, like not only do your bits explode, but your eardrums explode, and then some jerk off like a million miles away can be like, whoa, what was that? It's insane. It's insane. Nature's crazy.
So glad you were able to make it in, sir.
Aren't you glad that I'm here?
Oh, more than you know.
Yeah, because it's a little less creepy.
More than you know.
We. Who's we? There's no one else in here. Just you and your reflection.
Oh, yeah.
So
yeah, that's true. There were people in the office for like 10, 15 minutes tops earlier.
And then they're like, we gotta go. The show is weird.
They left, yeah. You have a bizarre show.
Yeah.
What do you mean bizarre? You mean like good?
Bizarre
like
means
bizarre good?
Yeah. It's like, oh man, we're gonna go to a bazaar. And right now I can see the ghost of Steve just shaking his head.
Yeah, I miss Steve.
Yeah, I miss him too.
Although I'm glad that he's been able to listen tonight.
Oh, good. Yeah, I'm glad. At least he can listen.
Right.
And I bet he's participating via shouting.
That'd be great if he was. Like, as we come on and we do our on-air bits, he just starts talking.
Oh! That was a terrible Steve impression.
Yep, that was awful. And I'm playing that back for him next week.
Oh, good. Hey, I'll be here for it.
If he did, or actually, no, not next week.
Yeah.
2 weeks from now.
Yeah, we'll be here. Doesn't matter.
2 more shows left, my friend.
Yeah, I know.
2 more shows left.
I'm sad.
Yeah.
You know what else also has 2 shows?
Walking Dead.
Walking Dead.
Yeah.
You know, I wouldn't even be afraid of this. Here's a question.
Yeah.
It is bugging me.
Okay.
So these 2 knuckleheads, or these 3 knuckleheads, right, were leading a whole charge of zombies, right?
Yeah.
And they're all just shuffling. I'm walking. I don't know how far I'm walking, but I'm walking. Right? And they're walking, right? And then, okay, this is great. And then all of a sudden they just decide, hey, or they get ambushed, right? What happened to that giant group of zombies? Nobody knows.
Yeah, no, I don't know. I lost track of...
Stupid.
I lost track. I've actually started getting into... I watched the first couple of episodes of Fear the Walking Dead. I'm finally catching up with that because I found out that it's only going to be on the AMC app for another couple of weeks. It's completely off the cable on demand for some reason. I thought that...
Because it was terrible.
Well, I thought it was going to be out there forever, though, because no matter what, AMC is like, they just tore their shows out. They're like, here... Our shows are just spread out all over the place. Netflix and this and that, and like they're everywhere, right? So I thought this show, for the foreseeable future, I'd be able to obtain on demand or what have you. But apparently, it's only on the app, so I can only watch it on my phone. and it's only going to be out there until like I said, I forget, a couple of weeks from now or something like that.
It's probably not doing as well as I thought.
Yeah, probably not. There was only 6 episodes in the season that they did. I've watched 2, so I've only got 4 left. So I'll probably watch those within the next week.
It doesn't follow the books at all, and
no, it's
also supposed to serve as a prequel to the whole thing.
It's interesting to see their interpretation of the beginning of it, but I feel like once they're like in the thick of the apocalypse, like everyone, like we were at the beginning of the regular series, that I'm gonna probably tune out and not care.
I think they realize that because they're like, who cares? No, nobody really. It's like Jaws. The Jaws is much more effective with like 30 seconds of the Jaws making an appearance.
Right.
Whereas, we don't need to see a whole movie of the shark. We don't need it.
Correct.
So, nobody needs to know, this is how the zombie apocalypse happened.
And to prove it, they did that, and it was called Jaws 2, Jaws 3D, and Jaws the Revenge, which were all terrible films, in my opinion.
Well, Michael Caine insists that his...
I should learn to do that when that's going to happen. I should learn the keys and the body language.
Michael Caine insists that his version was the best. He's like, it's top Spielberg's. I don't even know what you're talking about. I'm like, you okay?
You all right? Everything fine?
Of course he's not okay, because he was like, I'm going to be a great actor, and then I'm going to show up in this movie called The Last Witch Hunter. Why? Why are you in this? Get the hell off it.
Nobody knows. Another block of classic rock coming up. Give us a call, 508-531-1303.
Do we have a topic for the next segment?
We'll work on it. We just got to play some more music. Jesus, this hasn't been a problem all night. Now I'm starting to realize where the issue is.
Saturday nights and classic rock. They just go together like bacon and hot fudge sundaes.
Whatever.
Just trust us on this, okay? Bacon and hot fudge sundaes. Yum. The Saturday night soundtrack with Rob Hicks on 91.5 WBIM.
Stretch that last note out. Stretch it out. Stretch it out. There you go. 91.5 WBIM Bridgewater. Saturday night soundtrack, Aerosmith. That was off the 9 Lives album. That was the one that they had to change the cover on because everybody was all irritated and offended and all that. It was like the god Hishnu or Vishnu or something like that. And
that was
had a thing, and there was snakes and all that, and they came out with that, and everyone was like, hey, whoa, hey. I don't even remember what the deal was, but it was offensive in some fashion, so they changed it to a cat, stretched out on the dartboard there.
Yeah.
And that's not offensive, because,
Yeah, because cats got 9 lives.
F cats. It's totally fine. So 508-531-1303. You can give us a call. We're going to be heading into our last classic rock block of the evening already. So if you want to make your request part of it,
do it now.
Now would be the time to let us know. You're also going to be deprived of our company next week because we are going to be off the air since the building does not want to open just for us. So
even though we asked politely.
Yeah, exactly. So this is going to be it. The good news is that when we come back on December 5th, I'm going to be able to tell you exactly what's going to be going on for the spring semester as far as our schedule is concerned.
Oh, that'd be good.
Because the meeting's going on
this thing in my way tonight?
I don't know. Meeting's going on December 1st. So
you all right?
I'll be able to. It's a little funny. It just looks awkward out there. I don't know what's going on.
I don't know what's going on either. I don't know if I'm sitting I don't know. I can't handle this.
It's because Steve's not there. It's throwing the balance all off.
That is.
You know what I mean?
Skinny bastard.
That's what it is. So we'll be able to tell you about that in a couple of weeks, and then you'll know if there's going to be a Saturday night soundtrack in 2016, exactly when it's going to be, if there is one, and all that good stuff.
Yeah.
I hope there is one.
I hope so, too.
Because this is too...
I'm too old to go to a bar.
It's too good to die. You know what I mean? It's too good to die out right here.
Yeah.
So I was mentioning to you off the air that my wife and I finally found out that we're going to be supposedly getting our tax return this week. It's supposed to either be deposited in my bank account by like Tuesday or Wednesday, or we're going to get a check. But I think it's going to be coming into the bank account. And if it doesn't by like the 30th, I'm supposed to call them or something.
No, that's good.
My wife would like to believe that this was a product of the fact that we both went down there this past week on Monday. I went down and we weren't originally supposed
Women
to.
also want to believe that there's unicorns.
Yeah, so we weren't both supposed to go down there originally. Originally, I was just going to be the only one. I was going to go down and find out what the issue was and see if I could get it straightened out.
Like a man.
Right. So I went there and, got in there. I was the first one in line, so I didn't have to waste all my day like the last time I had to go there. And, I talked to them, and they looked it up, and they basically didn't give me a whole lot of information, and then told me that they couldn't tell me anything about whatever might be holding it up on her side due to the fact that it was her Social Security number, and they can't give me the info and all that kind of good stuff. So I get out of there, and I texted her, and I told her, unfortunately, I don't have a whole lot of new information, but she put a new note on the account. Apparently, our account was picked up for a final review on November 7th, but they said it could be another, 2 months after that. So I said, but picked up for review is good because at least we know they're doing something with it. And the text I got back was ominous, where she said, so I can just go this afternoon then. Because, to find out what was wrong on her side that they couldn't. So I was like, I guess you can, but, I think we already know. And then she said, okay. And then I forget what else she said. And then I was like, please don't get put in jail because I got stuff I'm doing, and I'm not going to be available to bail you out until 2:45.
Yeah, you're going to have to wait.
The response I got from that via text was, okay. So that's ominous, and around 2:45, I sent her a text, and I said, so how did it go? And she said, you don't want to know. And I said, okay. And then the next text was, how did you not go off on that, whatever, insert B word here. And then I said, well, I don't think that would have helped. And she was like, well, nothing apparently helped. So, and I said, oh no, this is not good. This is not good. So I got a little bit more of the, summary of the story when she came home from work, and I was asking her about it, and she was telling me about all these things that she was saying to them, and sweat started crossing my brow because this is an IRS office and it's a federal office and everything. And the capper on the whole story was when she said, and then when the security guard came over, I was like, do you think I'm afraid of you? And I was like, oh, man. Oh.
That's your wife.
Why?
That's
why?
That's who you married.
Why? And then
there's still time.
The problem is it just bolsters her sense that what she did was right when she was like, I found out about that this morning, that we're getting the thing back, and she's like, yeah, that's right. She's like, as soon as I left, I'm sure she put a note on the account like, I do not want this crazy bitch coming back into my office. Please put the note on there. You can say that. It's fine.
Well, then why'd you omit it?
Because I didn't want to call another person that. You know what I mean? It was the context in which it was being used. Okay. She's saying it about herself, and I'm quoting that, and that's fine. I didn't want to say it about another individual, is my point.
I get you.
Yeah. Context. So, exactly. It's all about the context. That was our excitement with the IRS office. Neither of us are in jail.
Yeah, right now.
It's a little bit of a mild miracle.
For all you know,
we are
now, as you're at the show, guys in black SWAT suits are, crashing through the windows.
We are...
Where's Sarah? They send the Terminator out. I'm looking for Sarah.
Which he would be. I suppose there's an opportunity here that we could potentially get audited or something like that. But if they want to do that, then they can bring it on because we don't do anything weird.
Yeah.
We pay our taxes and we have a mortgage, that's basically it.
We have a laundromat. We launder our money through that. Leave us alone.
We don't have any weird income. We don't, it's not like I get any income from this program.
Oh, yeah.
Did I tell you somebody at work again asked me about that?
Yeah? Did you punch him right in the face?
Well, no, because she's a nice woman. But I was explaining to her because I had shown her the YouTube site. By the way, go onto YouTube, search for Saturday Night Soundtrack, filter for channels where the first thing that comes up, you'll find it. Listen to it because it's funny and hilarious.
If you can't find it, then you're an idiot.
You shouldn't be using YouTube at that point, basically. You shouldn't be on the interwebs.
I'm looking at you, Susan.
So, picked it up and started reading. So, point being is that I was telling her all about what I do on the weekends and this and that, and then she said,
asking you about your weekend?
Yeah. So she said, she was like, you don't have to tell me if you don't want. She's like, but what's the what's the rate for that? I was like, I don't understand what you're saying.
Oh, the money.
Yeah.
There is none.
Right.
Lady.
And then I was like,
now?
No. And so I was like, no.
Probably at home knitting with her 40 cats.
Yeah. So I was like, no, there's no, it just doesn't, there's no money. She's like, what? So you don't get, and I like how people go from, they admire what they're like, this is fantastic. I'm impressed until you tell them you don't get paid for it. And then they start looking at you like you're a psychopath.
You do that willingly. You sit in a box.
So you don't get paid for that. You just do it anyway?
Yeah. It's called a hobby, lady.
Yes.
Yeah. It's better than knitting, which I'm sure that she's doing right now with the little.
I don't know if she knits. I don't know if she's the knitting type.
Does she look it?
What? No, I don't. Yeah. I don't know.
She might. She has a coif, doesn't she?
What?
Oh man.
On that note, we're gonna get into the last classic rock block of the evening. No, it's gone by too fast for you, sir. I'm sure it has.
I feel like I've been here for 20 minutes. I feel like I came through the door having to pee, and I'm like, that's all right. I'll wait until the next segment. And I'm still having to pee.
Yeah, well, I can see the leg shaking there. You might want to take care. Next song's like 8 minutes long, so you can probably take care of it then.
Oh, yeah. Nobody cares.
Nobody cares.
According to Susan, no one's listening.
Yeah, that's real nice. That's real nice, Susan. Thanks,
Susan.
Thanks for the vote of confidence.
Your show's so good. I'm listening, not now, but I will listen.
Susan, where are you listening to us at? Oh, I'm not listening.
I'm not listening. What are you?
That's great.
I wouldn't listen to your show if it was on fire.
Fantastic. But I'll sit on the phone for 25 minutes.
I wouldn't listen to your show even if it was broadcasting the emergency broadcasting signal. Who does? Who listens to that anyway? Ooh, oh, man, I gotta go. Turn that right off. I can't even...
Yeah, I know.
These people. These people. I don't know. You've heard that, right? Like, people are just like, oh, man, there's an emergency, but, like, nobody cares.
Right.
Like, the fire alarm's going off. What are you going to do? I'm checking my Facebook right now.
The alarms, they were testing the sirens at the Plymouth plant, and I heard it in Kingston the other day, and it scared the living crap out of me.
That thing's closing.
I don't know what they're doing.
Oh, they're probably just shutting everything down. I noticed that, I was driving by there the other night, and I noticed that the barrier was taken down. So, like, now you could just drive on. There's no one there at the guard station. You could just drive right on in.
Just do it.
And I was tempted. I was real tempted just to see how far I can take it. Like, let me just walk into the building now. Here we are. And this is good. I'm going to touch this.
And everybody I know is going to get arrested very soon.
All right, here we go.
Got some live Who coming up. SNS on BIM.
Got questions? Ask a Freemason. Just make sure you have a comfy chair, plenty of snacks, and at least a few hours to spare for when he actually starts talking. Jarrod Barbetta is on this Saturday night soundtrack on BIM.
91.5 WBIM Bridgewater. Saturday night soundtrack, just about to wrap it up for another... the best show on WBIM.
Yeah.
Wrapping it up for another week. What?
I will fight you in a game of Clue.
Clue is fun. Remember playing Clue?
Yeah.
Like, nowadays, kids don't understand because...
Well, they do a little bit because there's like 6 different versions of it now.
I get that, but do they...
The classic edition.
But the
modern edition.
But the thing is, the Big Bang Theory edition. But the question is, do they spend the time actually playing board games anymore?
Yeah, I don't know.
You know what I mean?
I know that there's like this weird helicopter mom revival of it. You know, we're gonna play board games on Saturday. All right, you're gonna come. And we're gonna play. I don't want to play categories again. That's not a board game. I don't care.
You know what's missing from tonight is Steve sitting next to you going.
If people don't know what he's doing,
just flinching every time the levels spike because Jarrod's yelling.
That's kind of what I miss about when it was just you and me.
Oh, yeah.
I could just scream all night.
I mean, I'll give you kind of the same face, but you don't have someone right next to you doing it.
You're like 2 planes of glass away from me.
That's true. 2
like
very
Sam
thick
Kinison
planes of
in here
glass.
all of a sudden.
Oh, my God. You should see what they just did. And by the way, we here at the Saturday Night Soundtrack would like to take the opportunity to apologize if anyone was creeped out by Jarrod earlier this evening in the building. It was just Jarrod. Nobody be concerned. But it's not an evening unless Jarrod has alienated, offended, or creeped someone out.
And I've done all three.
Yes.
So that's a good day.
Sometimes in the same night. It all depends.
Damn it. Yeah.
So once again, another programming note, just in case you forgot, and you're listening and you care, we're not going to be on next week because the building's closed. We'll be back on December the 5th.
Someone's out there. Leave me alone. I'm trying to watch my programs. I got you chirping in my ear.
Why do you have the radio on in the first place? So we're not, so not going to be,
people, obviously.
So not going to be on next week. We'll be back on December 5th, and we'll be doing shows on the 5th.
To annoy and to offend you.
Shows on the 5th and the 12th, and then that's going to be it for us for this semester, and then we'll see what happens for 2016. When I come back in 2 weeks, I'll be able to tell you.
Yep,
So
I'll let you know.
We'll see how that goes.
And if you care, you can donate.
Yeah, we're going to do a GoFundMe because it costs us so much money to do this. It actually does cost some money to do this program.
We're going to do a Kickstarter.
As we've mentioned in previous segments, we don't get paid to do this, but we actually pay money to do this.
Let's see if I can't get this going before.
Oh, God.
No, here's a good segment. Stupidest things that people have kickstarted. That's got to be. You can keep. Hang on, talk as I do this.
For anybody out there who cares about Mystery Science Theater 3000, Joel Hodgson is doing a Kickstarter to get that show going. Apparently, he claims he's got enough money now to do 3 new episodes. Yep. I don't understand necessarily how it's going to work from a copyright standpoint because either Comedy Central or Sci-Fi Channel or whichever one of them owns the rights to the actual original program. So unless they found a way to work their way around that, I'm not quite sure how that's going to manifest itself. But if there are new episodes of that show, I will watch them. Is pretty much what it is.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping against hope that this is actually not just all bluster and it's actually going to work.
Yeah. How about Donald Trump? Saying
what about him?
Well, saying I was I didn't start out well. I started out poor until my father gave me a loan of $1 million, and then I had to learn how to. Shut up.
I mean, that happens to all of us when our fathers handed us $1 million. Oh, wait, no, it doesn't.
All right.
Shut up.
Top 5 things that were actually, granted permission to carry on by Kickstarter because people actually donated into this. The Testicle Benito.
What?
Finally, a rape-based card game.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, it doesn't tell me how much they made doing that, but they made so they were able to raise $30,000.
They raised $30,000 for what was it called again?
Tentacle Benito, which is a rape.
Wait a minute, is it tentacle or testicle? Because you said testicle earlier.
Did I?
Yes,
I was probably thinking about my testicles. Tentacle, and then there's
tentacles.
Yeah.
Tentacle. There's a huge difference.
Here's another one. Number 4, Ozombie. Right? Which apparently is a zombie attack by the axis of evil.
Oh, good.
They also raised $30,000. And,
because why not?
Yeah. A snake robot that will kill you. That's number 3. They've made...
That's number 3.
Yeah.
People want to actually pay for that.
Yep. I wish I could read it's a robotic snake that will actually kill you. So they've raised $10,500. That was number 3. Hey,
wait, how much did they raise?
$10,500.
How come this is going down? I thought we were counting up to the.
I'm not too. Oh, here we go. What is this?
Or are these in no particular order? Because the first couple got 30,000.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like it's in order. I think it's in order by the most ridiculous. So there's this thing called Twisted, plagiarism in the key of C. Twisted is a musical adaptation of Disney's Aladdin in the style of Wicked. What? A musical based on Twisted is a musical adaptation of Disney's Aladdin in the style of Wicked, a musical based on the Wizard of Oz novels, in turn based on the novel Push by Satfire. I
know who.
Yeah. Which, of course, was notoriously cribbed for something that Shane Black scribbled down on a cocktail napkin in 1982.
Before he actually started writing things like Lethal Weapon and whatnot.
That made $140,000. Yep. And then there's the number one, Oculus Rift, headgear for nerds together again. That...
What?
Yeah. Well, I was
just going to say what to all these because they make no sense.
Oh, I know. That one made $2.4 million. And that one is Oculus Rift is a gaming device that has garnered both awards and boasts the Best of E3 nomination. And looks incredible judging on reactions of Kickstarter's video. The only problem is that I'm not old enough to recall the virtual reality boy. The virtual boy. I don't know what that... Oh, and they're talking about that little game thing that you had.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so that's like a virtual reality box for your face.
That's great.
For these days. Yeah,
that's great. So you could fund us. You could fund an independent
absolutely.
Saturday night soundtrack program.
Yeah, we'll take it.
If you guys could throw money at all that ridiculous garbage.
Yeah.
Then...
Yeah, because we need a game. What the hell is that?
Hey, real quick, because we got to go.
Yeah.
But you going to try Lyft again or no?
No.
Are you off that completely?
No, I'm not
now?
off it, but I'm just,
But I mean, are you mentally and like spiritually, have you moved on from the feeling that you wanted to do this?
Like in a way, because like they just want me to go up to Boston. I don't want to be driving.
They just keep telling you.
Yeah.
Jarrod keeps turning it on in like Bridgewater and Plymouth, and it keeps telling him like, "Hey, why don't you go to Boston?" I don't want to go to Boston. I wonder if Uber tells you to go to Boston all the time, as often as Lyft does.
I don't know. I know that there's a lot of Uber drivers in Plymouth, so I don't know what that's all about.
I don't know. I don't understand why there's two, and I don't get what they do. But
they're basically a taxi service.
I'm just glad. No, I get that. I'm glad that you didn't pay to sign up for this because I feel like it probably wouldn't have been worth it for you at all. So
there's all right. I'm sorry. One more thing.
That's all right. We got to get out of here though.
The sexiest smartphone charger on the planet. It's basically a sculpt of a body, and then you put your smartphone on it, and then in the back from the butt, you plug that into the wall. I'll show you a picture. It's ridiculous.
Do that. Oh. Hopefully this will be a segment we can continue next week. We'll find more ridiculous things that people have thrown money at, and we'll get back at you in 2 weeks on that. We're back on December 5th. Take care. Bye.